Hey guys, Tekking here. Brief announcement before we get into the video. I know a lot of people are curious about this. Am I going to do the One Piece review this week, the Chapter 862 review? Yes, I'm going to do it, and I'm planning on doing it tomorrow. The delay was because of this was Easter weekend, and I don't really celebrate Easter, so it kind of got the jump on me this year. I didn't know it was Easter. What that means is, though, I work in retail, and that's a really big shopping weekend, so I've been pretty much all day at work for like the past 3 days, and there were some people staying at our house over the weekend. It was kind of busy, so I couldn't really get to the review, so that's the reason. But it'll be out tomorrow. I'm off all day. I'm here alone all day too, so hopefully no distractions. I'll be able to get it out tomorrow. But for right now, though, before I go to bed, I'm looking through my comments, and somebody asked me to do a Geen video, and I thought, okay, well, I'm the kind of guy that's like, all right, I haven't done a Bleach review in a while, but then I get an idea clicking in my head, and if I can get an idea, you're not stopping me, okay? Because I'm not going to be able to go to bed now. So fuck it. Let's talk about him. Let's talk about Geen. I don't think I've ever made a video specifically about Geen. I made the Bleachmas video about him. You watch that here. But that was pretty much it. That's pretty much the only time I've ever talked about him. And I like him. He's cool, I guess. I'm not super fangirly gaga over him. I never really got that, Maybe it's just like an East-Western kind of thing, but most of the girls around this area tend to go for guys that are more muscular or have like a beard or more masculine features. Meanwhile, Geen is this very lanky, snake-like looking dude. But all the fangirls just like, oh my god, he's so hot. I'm like, okay, whatever, I don't know. So I never really thought much about the guy, but his Bankai is something that I've always wanted to make a video about, and I didn't know I wanted to make a video about it. Because if you actually sit down, the things that Kubo did with his Bankai and the way he acted when he initiated it are fucking clever. And they kind of like subvert a lot of tropes that are very common that I used to bitch about when I reviewed Bleach. Let me take you back a little bit. Remember this little chestnut? Remember when this is back when Rose revealed his Bankai to Maste Masculine. I'll do this. My god, Rose, why are you explaining your Bankai's ability, all of its facets, and how it can be countered while you're using it against Maste Masculine? Are you a fucking idiot? I've used that before on other people's Bankais. Like, I think Toshiro is guilty of that. Bottom line is, don't explain your powers. I mean, I know the reader has to know about that, but there's other ways around that. You don't have to have the actual character explain to the enemy how their power works. You could have a narrator do it, or you could have someone else. You could have inner dialogue, inner monologuing, thinking about how it works. You don't have to explain it to your opponent, because that's just setting you up for failure. Except with Geen. Geen is like the only guy that does this in a smart way, and it's really simple. He lies about it! He lies about what his Bankai does, and that makes you think, like, holy shit, if you were any kind of intelligence, that's what you would do. Aizen did it too. Aizen didn't really need to lie because he had perfect hypnosis on his side, so that kind of bolstered it, but that's what you do. Okay, so because of that, though, because of the lies that Geen spread, there's a little bit of a debate on exactly how his Bankai works, even in the fandom. So let's break this down, okay? So Geen's sword, in and of itself, we thought was a very simple sword. In fact, it's one of the most basic abilities you can think of when you're designing magic swords. Like if I came to you and said, "Okay, we're gonna do a manga or a comic book about magic swords that have unique abilities. What are some of the basic abilities that you want to go into?" Somebody's inevitably going to come up with the idea, let's make a sword that grows really long. Okay, cool, we'll throw that in there. So that's what we thought it was going to be. Geen's sword, Shinso, it means God Spear. That's his Shikai. Its release command is, pierce enemies or, kill everybody. The release command changed like 6 times in the English, so that's why I'm not, even in the Viz manga it's changed, so I'm not really consistent on what it is. I think it's slay them. But anyway, takes out his sword, and then he just thrusts it, and it extends, and it kills everything that's in the path of it. It pierces them, and then he can use it as swinging techniques. When Geen was a child, he was referred to as the hundreds sheather, because of he could extend 100 swords lengths when it's in his Shikai. I'm like, alright, pretty basic ability, but it gets the job done. We didn't think that much into it. Didn't have really that crazy over-the-top Kido abilities. It's just a sword that extends really far. Okay, then. So then he goes into his Bankai when he's fighting Ichigo, and his Bankai is Kameshini no Yari, or the God-Killing Spear. You get it? Shikai, God Spear. Bankai, God-Killing Spear. And initially, after going into it, he cuts the entire freaking town in half, while telling Ichigo exactly what it does. It extends 13 kilometers in length, and to go even further than that, he asks him, do you know how far it extends? And Ichigo's like, I don't know, pretty damn fast. And then Gin just cuts him off and just about 100 times that. So over the speed of sound, basically. So he does this to get a psychological advantage over his opponent. You know, like he's being tactical or something, God forbid, right? But yeah, we later find out that's actually not how it works. But it's never really clarified how it works. Gin never flat out explains it. When he's fighting against Aizen, and it's not really a fight, it's more of just he impales him, he explains to Aizen that his sword doesn't travel that fast, nor does it travel that long. He lied about the length, and by the way, there's really no way you could really know. I mean, I guess the Zanpakuto spirit could tell you, I extend 13 kilometers in length, but there's really no way to actually measure it. We understand that it can extend really long, really fucking far away, and really fucking fast, but it's not the speed of sound, nor is it 13 kilometers. Gin probably just made that up as an arbitrary number to psychologically, mess with the opponent. The real strength of his sword, as he did with Aizen, was when you stab somebody with Kameshini no Yari, the sword actually turns to dust. So think of it like this. Think of it actually really similar to Rangiku's blade, Hinako, which actually makes sense given that Gin and Rangiku were, really good friends growing up, and they possibly boned, maybe. I don't know, that thing's screwy. But anyway, yeah, his sword itself turns to dust. Now, his sword is just a wakizashi. It's like a tanto, like a short sword. But if you think about, molecules and atoms and all that shit, if it goes down at a small enough scale here, the dust and stuff would be able to extend outwards to insane degrees. Wouldn't be possibly 13 kilometers or something like that, but far enough, far enough to cut an entire town in half or something like that, right? So when he uses this, though, he has the option of actually altering that dust. He can make it solid, or he can just turn the whole blade to dust. And the advantage there is when he stabbed Aizen, and his blade turned to dust for just a split second, like 1/10 of a second, it turns to dust and then back again. Kind of like a laser sword in that extent. You could just like, boom, boom, and it's like his sword transforms to dust really quick and then goes back into, solid metal. He can actually choose to leave a sliver of the blade inside of the opponent. And then that's when the true power of Kameshini no Yari activates by the command, kill him. And it's a poison-type Zanpakuto. That's what it is! Because you always have to remember that age-old adage, I don't know who the first person to say it was like the abilities of the Shikai and the Bankai, there's only one type of sword. And that could maybe extend to different aspects, like Rose's sword was centered around sound, but through sound, he can make people think they were on fire, or getting drowned, or getting shot with electricity or whatever. And so but it was a sound base. So the same thing is with Gin's sword. So it's a poison type because that's what it's really centered around, that poisonous dust that breaks down cells, that once it gets implemented into the body and then kill them, that's like like the true power of Kameshini no Yari, and then it eats away your cells, and then wherever that sliver of metal is, and then that's how it kills you. We don't know how that works exactly, if you can, because there was a piece of Shinso missing after he used that technique. So does that stay gone forever, or does that heal over time? It's technically in a Bankai state when he uses that, and remember, once a Bankai is broken, it can't be fixed. So that might actually be a serious detriment. The only reason I bring that up is because if it never heals, if that sliver is just gone forever, then how would Gin know about this technique if he's never used it before? If we're led to believe, like, that was the first time he ever used that kill him technique was on Aizen. Now, Gin was an incredibly intelligent kid. He was on like a protege genius, the same level as like Toshiro, right? Except he was a kid genius growing up, and he actually grew into adulthood, or Shinigami adulthood, whatever. That thing's screwy too. So I completely understand if that was Gin's plan. Like, I know about this ability, and my Zanpakuto told me about this ability, but I can't test this out because it'll leave a gap in my sword, or it'll chisel down my sword, so I'm gonna wait to use this against Aizen, and that's like my one Hail Mary pass. If it fails, then I'm dead. If it succeeds, I might win. You know, so I don't know about that, but I'm just saying, if you're going into Bankai and you're leaving part of your sword gone, then I don't see any reason why that would be the exception to the rule. That sliver is just gone forever. So, yeah, that's what I love about Gin's sword, though. It's a poison type, but we don't know about that at first. You know, it's kept in the sense of, I have this ability, but I'm not going to tell my opponent, and I just started thinking about how well that would work with other characters. Like, let's say, for example, you have magical powers when you wake up tomorrow, and you're gonna get into a fight with somebody who also has magical powers. You would not tell them your abilities, but better yet, go the Usopp route with it. Tell them abilities that you don't have. Like, if I had Byakuya's ability to scatter my blades into a bunch of razor-edged, micro swords that can, like, cut you up, I wouldn't do that. I would use Senbone Zakura, got flower petals everywhere. My opponent would be like, what the fuck is this? And I would be like, oh, I have a plant-based Zanpakuto. I can send out these flower petals that will drain your Reiatsu or some shit like that. And then in reality, they're a bunch of fucking razor blades. See, that's what you do. You be clever with it. So, I don't know. I mean, Gin was the only person to figure this out. Like I said, Aizen could do it too. His original deal was he said he had a water-type Zanpakuto, but using his hypnosis, he could actually show everybody they had a water-type sword when he didn't. So yeah, the true mystery of Shinso, though, is, I guess, how far is the maximum distance of it? Because it's not 13 kilometers. I'm sure Gin just pulled that out of his hat. So how far can it really travel? Like, what's the limit of this dust here? Because how far spread could this dust go? And also, what control does he have over this poisonous, like, cell-destroying dust? You know, because, like, Heineko could make a bunch of different shapes with it. Like, Heineko can make, like, a house and, like, a shield with it. You know, so you can actually alter the shape of the ash cloud there. But with Gin's sword, it's almost like, no, it's like, I can turn it to dust and then stretch it out super thin to cut things apart, but then, you know, I can't control the shape it takes. It goes, like, forward and back, that's all I can do with it. He does have an array of techniques when he uses it, though, to kind of also mess with his opponent, too. One of them is Buto. So what he'll do is he'll take the sword and then, you know, go into Bankai, retract it back to the length of his sword. By the way, it's cool because, you know, it's an extending blade because even when he's in... Actually, no, I don't think he could do this. I was thinking about this for a second, because Gin, having a natural short sword, you think if it could just extend, like that was the point of the sword, he could just make it a regular katana to fight with that, but he never does that. It's either super long or wakizashi. There's no in between here. You know, anyway, Buto techniques, it's called dance steps. So he'll put his sword to his chest here to brace it, and then really fast, it'll just like zip, and then attack the opponent, and then retract again super fast, and then Buto Renjin right here, which is like multiple dance steps, like mad dance steps, which will just like a Gatling gun, just like so yeah, but he can't really, like I said though, even though the true power of it is poison, he can't use it whenever he pleases. He couldn't just use it against Ichigo, or he couldn't just use it against any opponent or Shinji or whoever he fought against, because I really think that once he uses it, first off, the cat's out of the bag with Aizen there, but beyond that, he'll lose parts of his sword eventually. And so it's probably like a really powerful poison that you really can't stand up against. Even Aizen in his god form did get damaged by it. It really did take him out commission for a few seconds, you know, if it wasn't for the Hogyoku, you know, that kind of god power up there. But, you know, any other opponent, like if he used it against an Espada or a Shinigami, I think it would have killed them and dropped them fucking no problem. But yeah, that's the thing. What do you guys think about his Bankai though? You know, let me know about that. Like, you know, is there a distance or is there a sound? Does it even really matter? You know, it's, you know, you get to a point where it's like, you know, speed of sound, anything beyond that, it doesn't really matter. If you want to say, oh, I can travel at Mach 1, you won't be able to see the attack coming. Oh, damn, that's pretty fast. But would it matter if it's anywhere higher than Mach 1, Mach 6, Mach 8? Because at that point, like, well, dude, I can't see it at Mach 1, so, okay, Mach 7, that's cool, but I still won't be able to see it, so it's not like any difference to me, really. You know? And what do you guys think about the poison thing? Like, once that sliver's gone, it's gone for good, or it'll heal back up at some point. Doesn't really matter, though. It's kind of a moot point there, because I don't know if you guys were aware of this or not, but it turns out Gin is dead! Dead! He's dead. And so is Bleach. Nah, I'm saying Bleach isn't dead. Bleach isn't dead. Bleach, I'm still here, right? As long as I'm still talking about it, it's still around. But I'll leave this open to you as like an ending out. If you ever wanted me to talk about a Bleach topic, like it was the one thing, like, damn it, Tekking, I love you, but you never talked about this, what would that be? I'm not saying I'm out of ideas. I actually want to do some other Bleach stuff on top of the One Piece stuff, on top of the Dragon Ball stuff, on top of maybe getting back into the Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But yeah, if you could pick one thing, what would that be? I really want to, honestly, I want to do a video about Shojiro's Bankai. And I just want to do that as a treat to myself. Not like it'll get a lot of views or anything, because I know it fucking won't, but I just kind of want to do that as myself. Like, fuck it, I like Shojiro's Bankai. It was freaking lightning and shit, and I could talk about that for 20 minutes. If there's anybody that can take a minimal topic that you think you can't talk about for more than a few minutes and you could turn it into like a half an hour long video, I'm your man for that one. But, yeah, let me know about that below. Let me know what you think about Gin's Bankai, Gin's Shinso. This isn't a replica of Shinso, by the way. I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, you know, that's not really Shinso. No, it's not. This is a really, really shitty fake Wakizashi I bought at the county fair because I thought it looked cool. Had, like, a little logo on it. And then I bought it, and this thing is, like, falling apart. Like, there's an end here that's fallen off. The freaking, what is it? This, like, the thing between the sheath and the blade, you know, that's shit, you know, that sticks to it. Yeah, and then the blade itself is like starting to like seriously rust. I don't even know if you could see it, but it's seriously fucked up. So no, Shinso, that is not. Alright, I've been just jawing on for long enough. I don't even know why I'm still here. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Love you. One Piece review will be out tomorrow. Later, peeps. Happy Easter, bitches.